Happy new month, traders. How do you know if price is trending upward or downward, or price is actually moving sideways? The answer is market structure. If you don't know how to trade using market structure, watch this video up here. Though I taught more on this for those that are on our programs. Now, using market structure, let's look for trading opportunities for next week, starting with the dollar index as usual. Now, we've ended the month and we need to start from the monthly time frame, because how we end the month is very, very important going forward in our trading. All right. And as you can see, like you already know, price is up, right? Overall, price is up. Dollar is trending upward. However, we are seeing pullbacks and all of those good stuff, which is very, very important in trading, catching pullbacks, trading in the direction of the market. They are all very important if you understand the concept of market structure properly. Now, when price came into this zone, we saw this bullish engulfing candle. Then we saw some bearish price action for the next couple of months after this bullish engulfing candle. And then for last month, we've seen another bullish engulfing candle. As you can see, the candle speaks for itself. You can see how huge it is, engulfing this and even engulfing this previous monthly candle. So now this is a new month. So what should we be expecting on paper as a trader? We should be expecting bullish continuation. Yes, we could keep pushing lower and we could catch some trades even if price is pushing lower. But what should we be looking long term? We should be looking for bullish price action, bullish continuation for the months. Now, if we go to the weekly time frame, on the weekly time frame, you can see that price has created a new higher low. Then last week, we closed with a bearish candlestick. And if you remember, if you watched last week's video, I actually expected this pullback, right? And that is why we can see we closed last week with a bearish candle. Then if we go to the daily time frame, I predicted that pullback on the daily time frame where I pointed out this zone that has been tested multiple times, this zone also, and now price is back at that zone. And as expected, we saw that pullback. Actually, the pullback wasn't as smooth as I would have loved it. I was expecting price to just push lower. Guys, as you can see, this is the daily time frame, and it is obvious that price moved sideways for the first couple of days before pushing lower on Thursday, and then on Friday again we are pushing back up, right? So you can see that confusion. So now I'm actually expecting price to pull back into this zone. Let me even draw it so that you can see. Pull back into this zone before going back up. But with the way we close Friday, I'm beginning to think in probabilities, because you can see we closed Friday with a bullish candlestick. So how do we look for trading opportunities going into next week? Now we are going to be looking at two possible scenarios. First of all, using market structure, you can see that we've created a new lower low on the 4-hour time frame. How is it a new lower low? Let me show you what I mean. You can see between this zone to this zone, we're creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher high, right? And now, as you can see, we've created a new lower low. In case you are wondering, why is it a lower low? Just look at this zone, right? Because price bounced off this zone, pushing higher before coming back lower, creating a new lower low. So now price looks like it's pushing higher. So I'll be expecting a pullback from this zone until we come into this zone that we've spotted on the daily time frame to now start pushing price higher from there. I hope you get the point. Now let's go back to the daily time frame so you see what I'm trying to talk about. Between this zone and this zone, we're creating higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher high, right? Then we created a lower low here, breaking below this market structure. We went for a pullback, created a new lower low, right? Then we created a lower high, but we failed to create a new lower low. Then instead we blasted higher, creating a new higher high, breaking above this market structure here, right? So now what should we be expecting? We should be expecting price to give us a pullback into that broken market structure, and then for price to keep pushing higher. Now this is on the daily time frame, right? So if we go back to the 4-hour time frame, you can see that on the 4-hour time frame, this is that daily time frame, by the way, where I'm expecting price to pull back into before we go bullish. But on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that we have now created a lower low, breaking below this market structure. So now we are going back into that zone. So I'll be most likely expecting a rejection from this zone for price to drop back into this zone before we now push higher. All right. So overall, I'm expecting a reversal, a bullish reversal from this zone. So why am I taking my time to explain dollar index? Just like I mentioned last week, I'm taking my time to explain dollar index because whatever happens on the dollar index affects the dollar pairs. I'll take that again. Whatever happens on the dollar index affects the other pairs. So if dollar index is bearish, like it is now short term, it looks bearish short term, that means we are going to see a weak dollar across the dollar pair. So which means EURUSD will be bullish. AUDUSD will be bullish, right? NZD-USD will be bullish. I hope you get the point. So why will it be bullish? It's simply because of the fact that dollar index is looking bearish on the 4-hour time frame. So now I will now be expecting a strong dollar after price must have dropped into this zone, which is from the daily time frame, so that we can start going bullish. And when this happens, we will start seeing a strong dollar across the dollar pairs, right? If you don't understand what I'm trying to talk about, just let me know in the comment section down below so that I can, maybe we'll create a special live session on that topic alone, which is the dollar index. All right. So now that we've seen what is happening on the dollar index, but before I go, let's go to the 1-hour time frame. Let's go to the 1-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, I'll be expecting that pullback around this zone or this zone. So what I'll be expecting is bearish continuation from here until we come into this zone before we go bullish, right? That's scenario 1. And then secondly, if we break above this zone, let's say we break above this zone and this line here, I'll tell you why I am particular about this line very soon. So but if we break above that line, then come back for a retest to that line or this trend line, then I'll be expecting bullish continuation. That means we may not need to drop into this zone. Now, why am I so particular about this line? I'm particular about this line because that is where price bounced off multiple times before breaking below, creating this new lower low on this lower time frame, right? So I will be expecting price to come into this trend line, or if we break above this trend line, come into this line itself to continue the bearish push to the downside, all right? But if we break above that line and pull back into that line or pull back into this trend line, then we may not need to come into this zone before we keep going bullish, all right? So that's my thought process as it stands. But don't worry, guys, we are going to come back within the week on our YouTube live to reanalyze the market and look for more trading opportunities, all right? So now that we've seen what is happening on the dollar index, let's go to AUDUSD. AUDUSD, first of all, let's see how we closed for last month. Last month, we closed with a strong bearish candle, leaving us with a strong rejection above here, which is this week, as you can see. So what should we be expecting? We should be expecting further decline on AUDUSD. However, it's only normal for us to see pullbacks. So that is why you can see that we close with this bullish candle for last week. All right. So it's not actually clear on the weekly time frame. But before we go to the daily time frame, I'm actually expecting price to keep dropping until we come into this trend line. Now, when we come into this trend line, we could either bounce off that trend line or break below the trend line and keep trading lower, which is what will most likely happen if we come into that trend line. So now let's go to the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, for last week, I was actually expecting price to reject this zone and keep pushing lower. But due to what is happening on the dollar index, due to the fact that dollar index is going for a deep pullback, so price broke above that my zone where I was actually expecting price to reject and keep pushing lower. So it looks like price is headed for this trend line, though that's a big ask, but it looks like it is headed for this trend line. So two things is going to happen. If we come into this trend line, then I'll be expecting a rejection for bearish continuation. All right. Let's go to the 4-hour time frame. For the 4-hour time frame, I will still be expecting some kind of a bullish continuation for next week on the dollar index. All right. So now that we've broken above this zone that I highlighted from the previous time frame, which is the daily time frame, and now we see that price is pulling back. So price may likely come into this zone for a retest since we've created a new higher high here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Between this zone and this zone, we're creating lower lows and lower highs. And now we've created a new higher high, breaking above this market structure, right? So I'll be expecting a pullback, then a bullish continuation on this lower time frame, maybe until we come into this trend line above. All right. So, but how do we catch this bullish move? Let me show you on the 1-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, you see we are coming low after creating higher highs and higher lows, right? So I'll most likely be expecting price to come into this zone and this trend line to give us that bullish continuation to the upside. All right. But what happens if we break below this trend line and this zone? Then, guys, that means we are going down, which is the original trend. We are continuing the original trend to the downside. So that is AUDUSD in a nutshell. Let's look at EURUSD, starting from the monthly time frame as usual. On the monthly time frame, you can see on EURUSD that we close with a strong bearish engulfing candle at the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, right? And zones or market structures from the higher time frame are very, very strong levels that you don't want to ignore, that you don't want to overlook. So now you can see how the 0.5 Fib level aligns perfectly with this level of structure here. All right. And as you can see, price attempted that level of structure previously, give us this rejection, but went back up again and we've seen another rejection. So this could be it. This could be price dropping back into this zone here, but that's a big ask, right? But I'll be expecting a bearish continuation at some point on EURUSD on this monthly time frame. Now let's look at how we closed for last week. Last week we closed with the dodgy candlesticks, and you know dodgy candlesticks are indecision candlesticks. If they happen in the middle of nowhere, there's a higher chance that price is going to continue in that direction. All right, and we could easily see price also push higher next week. All right, so we cannot capture trading opportunities right now looking at the weekly time frame. So let's go to the lower time frames. Let's go to the daily time frame. If you notice, I was kind of engaged throughout last week, and aside that, I was looking at the market from time to time, and I didn't really see any clean move in the market. I mean, if you look at this daily time frame on EURUSD, you can see how price moved sideways throughout the week. I mean, this is Monday, the 29th of May. This is Tuesday, this is Wednesday, this is Thursday, this is Friday. You can see bearish, bullish, bearish, bullish, bearish price action, right? So this is a sign that price ranged for the best part of, in fact, throughout last week, price ranged, right? So this is why I really didn't send out much trading opportunities. If you see the 4-hour time frame, you can see this is Monday. Let's even go further left. This was the open of last week here, and as you can see, we went down, went up, now went down. So there was no clean trading opportunity. So what should we be looking at for next week? Now, price could easily do two things next week. EURUSD is not all that clear to me. As it stands right now, I'm looking at more bearish continuation than any bullish reversal, because as you can see, we've not been able to create any significant new higher high, right? For the past couple of days, we've been creating lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower low, right? Now it looks like we've created a new higher high, but it's not that obvious because you can see price dropped back down into this zone. So for next week, if we create a new lower low, taking out this low, then we are going to continue the bearish push to the downside. But if we start pushing higher from here, which I cannot find any structure that supports that, maybe except for this anyways, So let's say on Monday, if we see a strong bullish engulfing candle, we could decide to buy the euro dollar. But if we keep pushing down and we create a new lower low, then guys, we are pushing all the way to the downside. Let me see what 1 hour looks like. 1 hour pretty much looks like the 4-hour time frame. So like I said, if we see a bullish engulfing candle here on Monday, we could buy at least into this zone. If we break this zone, then into this zone, and so on and so forth. But as it stands now, if we break below this zone and give it a retest, then guys, I will be expecting bearish continuation for next week on the euro dollar. Euro dollar is not all that clear at the moment. So that takes us to JPY pairs, starting with the JPY index. Like the dollar index, the JPY index is also very important. Why? Because it measures the strength or weakness of the JPY pair. So if JPY index is bullish, then JPY will dominate the other pairs, right? And if the JPY is bearish, which signifies weakness, then other pairs paired with the JPY pairs is going to dominate the JPY pairs, or are going to dominate the JPY pairs, right? And as it looks on the monthly time frame, JPY pair is super bearish. In fact, I've been calling JPY bearish for quite some time. You can go back and watch all my previous videos. Sorry, did I just say JPY pairs I've been calling JPY index bearish for quite some time. You can go and watch my previous videos. Then some couple of weeks ago, we officially called this a double top chart pattern on the weekly time frame, and I also mentioned the fact that I'll be expecting price to keep collapsing into this zone. And as you can see from the weekly time frame, that is exactly what we are doing at the moment. Then as you can see, last week also I mentioned that I'll be expecting a pullback. Now price pulled back for the first 3 days of last week, and then for the last 2 days you can see that we continued the bearish push. So what should we be expecting? If you look from this zone to this zone, we've been creating lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Now we've created a new lower low, a new lower high. Then what should we be expecting? Of course, a new lower low with this impulsive move we are seeing that is happening right now at the moment, right? So now we've established the fact that JPY index is bearish, right? If we even go to the lower time frames, like the 1 hour time frame, you see that we've broken out of a counter trend line. So for the early part of next week, I'll be expecting a pullback into this trend line or into this zone before we continue pushing lower. So what I'm saying in a nutshell is JPY index, I'm still bearish. So if I'm bearish on JPY index, then what should we be expecting on USDJPY? If dollar is weak next week also, and JPY index is also weak, it is going to cause a tug of war, like a range on USDJPY, right? So now USDJPY, let's see how we closed for last week. In fact, let's start from the months. From the monthly time frame on USDJPY, it looks like we're even pushing higher already on the current month, right? So you can see that we closed last month with this bullish candlestick, and it looks like we are continuing that bullish momentum to the upside already for the month. However, I'll still be expecting some kind of pullback at some point, or maybe we've seen the pullback. If we come to the weekly time frame, you can see we've created a new higher high. Everything aligns with a bullish continuation on USDJPY. Let's go to the daily time frame. However, on that weekly time frame, let's go back to that weekly time frame. We closed last week with this bearish candle, but it's not a strong bearish candle. Let's go to the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, I sent out this chart earlier in the week when price was trading around here. Around here. Now, price gave us extra 2 days of bearish price action before giving us this bullish push to the upside on Friday. Technically, I was expecting price to come into this zone. But even this bullish push to the upside didn't just happen by fluke, all right? There was still some technical reason. If you are not seeing that technical reason, let me just put this here so you'll be able to see it clearly. You can see price came here, rejected this zone, pulled back into this zone, now broke above it. Now you can see that that's the area, that's the zone that price reacted to. So could this be? I would have loved to see price come into this zone so that I will be sure to buy without looking back, right? But now this puts me into a confused state of mind at the moment. So, but we are not just going to let price go without taking advantage, right? Because if price is going to keep going bullish, which is the overall trend of the market as it stands, we are not supposed to let it go, right? So because of that, I'll be looking at 2 probabilities in the market. Now we have to go to the lower time frame, the 4-hour time frame, to look for trading opportunities, but we have to think in probabilities going into next week. This 4-hour time frame is not giving me that clear picture that I like. It's not giving me that clear picture that I like. So let's go to the 1-hour time frame. Let's go to the 1-hour time frame. On the 1-hour time frame, now you can see this is that line that price is reacting to, or that price reacted to. All right. When this was happening, I really didn't spot it because I was focused on price coming into this zone. So, but now that it has played out, I can now see clearly why it reacted to this zone the way it did. So now going into next week, guys, if we break above this mini, I call it mini resistance level, if we break above it, because you can see this impulsive move to the upside. So if we can take out this zone, come back for a retest, and I see bullish confirmation here, guys, I will buy. I'll be buying USDJPY. But as you can see there, this mini zone also has been tested multiple times. What if price wants to come into this zone and then blast lower into our original zone, right? So you can see that that is also a possibility. So what will I do in this case? I will wait for Monday candlestick to open and close for the day. Then when that happens, I can now maybe have a zone where I can either plot a counter trend line, then wait for price to break below it so that I can now start selling. But if you want to buy USDJPY, just wait for it to to take out this resistance, come for a retest, then you can now jump into the buy. All right. But if we are going to keep going lower, then I'll wait for that daily candlestick to open and close. Then on Tuesday, I will start looking for bearish push, at least into this my original zone, before we continue going bullish. So that's my thought process on USDJPY. Then what about GBPJPY? GBPJPY, we closed the month, which is last month, with a strong bullish candlestick. Then on GBPJPY, I'm expecting price to come into this zone as our initial target. All right. So that's a long way up, right? But before we get there, of course, we are going to see pullbacks. We are going to see bullish moves. We're going to see pullbacks and all of those good stuff. But as you can see, it's obvious we've created a new higher high, breaking above this market structure here, as you can see. So what should we be expecting? Even if we have a pullback, I'll be expecting a pullback into that zone before we keep pushing higher, right? However, we closed last week also with a bullish candlestick. So let's go to the daily time frame. Let's see what is happening. Daily also looks like it's going higher. Let's look at the 4-hour time frame. Now, the 4-hour time frame is where the interesting part is. On the 4-hour time frame, you can see I plotted this counter trend line, and you can see this massive rejection we've seen on this 4-hour time frame. So if we're going to see a pullback, I'll be expecting bullish continuation from this trend line here. I'll be expecting bullish continuation from this trend line that you can see here. Is a mini trend line that I plotted, because if I go further down, there's no strong zone I could plot my trend line. So that's why I used this, so I could capture here and here, project it into the future. So if price keeps dropping, then I'll be expecting bullish continuation from here. And if we break below this trend line, then I'll be expecting that bearish push to happen until we come into this line that I actually plotted from the weekly time frame. If you go back, if you rewind a little, you remember this line I'm talking about. So I'll be expecting price to come into that zone before we see bullish continuation. What if we break above this zone? What if we break above this zone? Or what if we maintain above this zone rather? Let's say Monday we open and we see a strong bullish engulfing candle from here. Then guys, we can keep buying to the upside. But once price moves a bit, just make sure you break even in case price wants to come back and retest this trend line. So if we see a bullish engulfing candle and you jump on the trade, once price moves upward a bit, just break even just to be safe. All right, because I think all this stall that is happening here is happening because price wants to go into a pullback before gaining momentum to continue the bullish trend. All right, so GBPJPY, I would like to see how we close at least Monday. Then on our YouTube live session for the week, we can come back and reanalyze depending on where price is trading at that particular point in time. Now let's go to gold. Gold is also interesting at the moment. Remember last week I pointed out the fact that it looks like we are going to close the month with this strong bearish candlestick. So that will mean that we've seen a triple top around here. All right, so as you can see, we close the month with this strong bearish candlestick. You can also spot that rejection from that zone, the 2100 price area. You can spot that massive rejection. So I'll be expecting price to keep pushing lower. However, we have this weekly zone to contend with. All right, there's some kind of indecision around this zone, as you can see by this dodgy candlestick here. There's some kind of an indecision around that level there. So, and as you can see, market structure also supports bullish continuation, right? As you can see, we've created a new higher high, breaking above this high. We came back for a higher low to retest that zone, right? Then we blasted higher again, creating a new higher high. And now it looks like we've come back into that zone for a retest. And you can see this weekly dodgy candlestick. So it looks like we are going to continue bullish on gold also. Just looks confusing. See the way we close for the month. Look at that strong, massive rejection on that monthly candle. Now, on the weekly candle, we are sitting on this strong zone. So what should we be expecting next week? Now, this is the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, you can see this massive rejection that happened on Friday again, engulfing 1, 2.5 trading days last week. Now, there's some kind of a confusion, but however, if you look at this using market structure, you can see we created a new lower low, breaking below here, created a new lower high, then came back for a new lower low, breaking below here, went back. We have not created any new higher high on the daily time frame. So to take out the confusion, if you've watched that video, that market structure video, the link to that video is also going to be in the description of this video down below. If you watch that video, you will know why I will be waiting for price to come and create a new higher high on this daily time frame before I go bullish on gold. But for now, I still remain bearish. So if price takes out this trend line on this daily time frame, then guys, I'm all in. Sell on gold to this zone. All right. But if price creates a new high, let's say price comes back into this zone, give us a rejection, breaks above this market structure now, create a new higher high, I'll wait for a pullback, then I'm going to go bullish on gold. It just takes patience. All right. Just takes patience. Now let's go to the 4-hour time frame. On the 4-hour time frame, pretty much like the daily time frame, we've seen multiple rejection. We came back, we saw that rejection. I saw this thing, but I saw price trading around here, but because of the confusion that happened for the best part of last week, I didn't take the trade. If I had taken the trade, I would have made substantial amounts of money to the downside. But it was Friday also, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to just let this go. I'm going to let it go. For the fact that the NFP numbers came out confused, right? I think the unemployment claims, the unemployment claims came out negative. The non-farm payroll came out positive, I think. Yep, came out positive and all of that. So there was some kind of a confusion before price actually did move in favor of the USD. So because of that, I wasn't interested in trading the NFP. But like I said, if price comes into this trend line, gives us a new higher high, then I'll wait for a pullback into that zone, then I'll buy. All right. But if price breaks below this trend line, this weekly and daily trend line, guys, I'm full-time bearish on gold until we come into this zone as my overall target. So there you have it, guys, the analysis for the week. If you want to take your trading career to the next level, our mentorship programs can help you achieve that. Just visit letstrade10x.com. Link is also in the description of this video down below. And if you are not interested, it is totally fine too. Just make sure to like our videos, share our videos, and also subscribe to this, our amazing channel. Thanks for staying to the end of this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Till then, I wish you a successful trading week. Bye, guys.